G'day, it's Joel Rasmussen from Southern Cross Combat, and ahead of his fight at Eternal 89, I'm talking to Mr. Stephen Costello. Stephen, thank you so much for the time. How are we today?
All good, all good. Nice and relaxed, nice and chilled. Enjoying Perth.
Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. How has the city been treating you?
Been nice. The weather wasn't what I expected when I arrived, but it kind of suited the energy. It was overcast, a little bit of rain, so I didn't mind. I wouldn't have been able to handle the heat the first day after that long travel. So
I wanted to ask about the weather. Maybe you brought Ireland with you.
yeah, that's exactly what happened. There's storms back home and stuff, so I brought a bit of a storm. It's gonna be a storm on Saturday night too.
Beautiful, man. Media train. How have you been finding it? I'm from the East Coast, so I'm not sure what the weather's like in Perth, but has it been really hot?
Um, Today was the hottest day. We walked up to the Louis Show Academy today, and I didn't wear a jumper today, so I have a bit of a farmer's tan going already. So I'm gonna have to try to blend that in. So the sun is hot; it burns. Like it's the different heat than back home. The UV must be like 20.
Yeah, man, we got a giant hole in the ozone layer. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
I I wanted to ask about that. You've been in Oz for this is week two.
No, I've actually only arrived Saturday evening, so I'm
Oh,
here. Yeah, I'm here not long, 4 days now, maybe 3 days.
was that was that the plan? Did something happen with the travel?
No, that was the original plan. I probably should have booked a little longer on my side of it, but I'm here now. So I'm feel grand. The jet lag hasn't hit me. I kind of shook whatever grogginess I had off as well over these past few days.
Excellent. Well, Australia's happy to have you, nonetheless. How have you been finding training in the humidity, in the heat? How has it been to adjust?
Well, on Sunday it was raining, heavy rain. Me and a friend just decided to go running in the evening, and that was it's quite nice. We done a good 8 kilometer run up to check out where Louis Show gym was. Ran back, bit of shadow boxing and stuff in the rain. It was nice, and then the weather's been picking up, so it's been a lot better.
I will say on my part, fantastic opening to the interview. Immediately asking you, "How's the weather?" Wow, great interview technique by me.
It's our age now, isn't it?
As you've mentioned there, you've been training at Luistro. How has it been to train there?
Yeah, it's been great. Romel, the coach, we got contacted through my coach, so they've given me the warm welcome. As soon as I came in, everyone was friendly, handshakes. Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. Got straight to work, straight to training. Good bodies up there. Like there's no egos up there, but the looks of it, there's beginners on the mats and professional UFC fighters on the mats. So there's a good mix. I really like it. It's the vibe I'm into as well.
When you are the guy coming in from not only another country but another part of the world, when you do shack up in a gym and get your kind of fight week training going, what is the training like? Is it you kind of talked about it there? You did get to mix it up with some of the local guys. You're not just mixing it up with the crew that you brought.
No, it's one teammate of mine is with me, so I kind of depend on bodies in the gyms that I go to. And you kind of know at this stage who's going to be spazzy, who's going to be friendly. Like so, you can sense the energy. So it's been good. Today we done Nogi up in Louis Show the first round. I went over to the biggest guy. I was like, "Come on, let's go." He gave it to me a bit, so I felt the strength like of what I'm going to be expecting on Saturday. So I was like, "Nice, it's nice to feel this, walk through it, weather storms and stuff like so." It was very good.
You're a man on the other side of the planet, repping Ireland. How did this fight come your way? How are you here?
There's an Irish fighter back home who's currently living in Dubai. His name is John Mitchell. Um, the promoter Ben, he texts John saying, "Do you have a welterweight?" John texts me, said, "Here's a fight. Send me the topology. It's in Australia. It's for a belt." I said, "Yeah." He said he'll connect us. We agreed, planned the dates to come over, and here we are now. So that's kind of how it happened through a WhatsApp message.
What goes through your head when you get a text message that says, "Hey man, you want to fly to the other side of the planet and fight for a belt?"
Well, previous to that, I was in Tenerife and Miami, so I was kind of getting a little itchy. Like, when's the next fight coming? What's going to be? So when that came in, I was like, all right, a bit more travel, a bit longer, bigger show, bigger belt, bigger opportunity. So I said, yeah, let's go.
A man that's always game.
Yeah, well, I'm 31 now at the moment, in my prime now, so I need to take advantage of it, and I need to use all the years of hard work I've had in gyms and training, and use it to put me in a better position in life. And what an opportunity to get from Eternal. So I really appreciate them reaching out and giving me the opportunity, flying me over, having me in a nice hotel. I've requested an extra room because a snoring roommate. They gave it to me with no problem. Uh, and like they're just so they're nice people, good people. The Australians, I'm big fan of you now.
Excellent. I'm very glad to hear that. Talking about you talk about their entering your peak, entering the prime, and I wanted to talk about that. You've flown all the way here for a title. Your last fight was for a title, picking up a stoppage victory, earning a belt. Uh, how does it feel where you are in your career? Belts on the local scene are an interesting thing where you can have a title fight and then the next fight not be for a title because it's all availability. How do you feel you're going right now in your career where you're kind of lining up these title fights?
Um, like I'm enjoying it. Like when you get offered a fight and the money's not great, there's not like much. It's more like anxiety and like fear of the fight or what's going to happen. Like, but when there's a belt on the line, it's like, oh shit, yeah, let's go. Like that's going to be a belt. That's going to be hanging up in my house. It's going to be an achievement. Like that's put me in a completely different mindset. So if I get the win here and a big promotion takes me on, the next goal is go get their belt. And I never had that before until I got offered the belt opportunity in Tenerife. The belt was the main goal and the main motivator. I didn't care who was in front of me. And now this is the same situation. It's going to be my skills at the end of the day earning this belt.
You are fighting Aldin Bates for the interim eternal welterweight title. Do you know anything about Aldin and what do you make of him?
Everything on his like on YouTube. I have in the fight pass. I've scrolled through his Instagram, seen what he's like, and like the art of war. I've gotten to know the enemy now, and I know what I'm expecting on Saturday. He knows what he's expecting, so it's going to be a banger of a fight.
And as I mentioned, there this is an interim title. The champion Lachlan Stitt was unable to fight. It has been a hell of a trip. If you are victorious, will you come all the way back to Unify?
Yeah, the, they're back in February 8th, and the UFC is on the next day. So I think if I get offered that, if that's the opportunity, I'm going to take it. Unless something else comes in from a big promotion, then I'm going to have to chat to the team and see what you recommend doing.
It would be a very nice opportunity fighting the night before UFC. It would be pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, of course. But like if the UFC come to me before that, you never
Oh,
know.
of course, you're taking it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Talking about those three letters, the UFC, and talking about what you said about the belts and the belts being the motivator. Um, what is the goals for yourself in this game? Why do you fight?
Yeah, like, why do I fight? Like I'm fighting for a better future, a better like a lifestyle that I want to live. Like be my own boss in something, like invest in something, become my own boss, look after my own family, give people in my family a job is something that I've done. Like it's like finance. Finance would be the biggest motivator, and belts, and achievements, and memories. Sitting in a pub when I'm an old man sharing stories. At least I can have some stories to share instead of sitting there just saying, "I wish I'd done this. I wish I'd done that." So that's the motivator, and that's why I do it.
I don't know if it's the best game to get into for the money. I'm sure you could know that better than anyone.
I know, but never know.
Of
Connor done it. Conor McGregor done it.
of course, man, and he coming out of especially where you're from,
Mm,
he's a fantastic example of that.
yeah.
Talking about that, you rep SBG Ireland. What is it like to train at that gym where it's got that world? You train at a world famous gym. What is that like?
It's very special. Like people just come in during a training session, tourists to come see the place and have a look around. The staff are so friendly. They accommodate people, like whoever you are or wherever you're from. They bring in a tour. John will come from the office and come out, meet and greet you. Like it's a special gym. Like it's state of the art, and like to think like Connor walked through all them same doors. Like I walked through the same doors, and I'm trying my very best it has dorms with international fighters that are always in. So there's always high level out in the mats. Again, the best training partners you can get in Europe in SBG, PFL fighters, Bellator fighters, UFC fighters. Like I'd be a big welterweight, so I'm always thrown in with the big dogs like Johnny Walker and like Will Flory, Carl Moore. These are all top, well-known mixed martial artists back home in Europe, and it's never an easy day. You want to be fueled up and ready for the 11 o'clock session back home.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Uh, Talking about you just name drop some of the gentlemen that you train with. I wanted to ask about training with them. Uh, what is that like when you're? It's a direct comparison. You literally get to train with some of the guys who are at the top of the sport. What does that do for yourself? And when you're in the training room, what is the skill gap like?
Well, it took me a long time to become what I am at the moment. Like that's what it is: consistency and time to become better. You're a product of your environment. But like I have a bit of a thing in my mind. I don't know if it's healthy or not. I kind of feel if he can do it, I can do it. You know, like it could get me in trouble sometimes. But that's my kind of motivator. Like if he's this good, I can be that good. So like that kind of helps. Which is true. Like if you just show up and do what you do, try your best in what you do, you will become what you're inspired by. Kind of, you know, you can become your role model. So that's my mindset on it.
And when you're training with these guys, as I said, they're at like the top of the sport, and you're in there and you're giving them hard rounds, and you guys are training together. What kind of confidence does that give you that when you're training against the best guys in the world and
It boosts the confidence. Like, oh yeah, it's working. Like that's what I'm mind. But I feel I don't have an ego. That like you're gonna come against a big dog one day, and he's gonna humble you. Like so, I always find if you don't have an ego and you do meet a big dog, you're not as crushed by it, then you're not as set back by it. So like one day at a time is my motto. I have a hard round with someone I didn't do well. I'm gonna be good the next day. Better the next day. I've been in a situation I've never been in before. I felt that pain, the burn, the grit, the wanting to quit maybe. So maybe the next time I'm in it, it's not so bad.
and you mentioned there before, obviously head coach John Kavanagh. What's it like to train under a man like John Kavanagh?
Yeah, it's great. John's on the mats every morning, and my other coach, Dave Roach, they're best friends. They've been on this Irish scene years ago, the originals, and they're just a great combination. The two of them are later on in the years, but they're still nimble and show you what you can do. Like John's so swift when he's doing his jiu-jitsu. Then Dave Roach is so sneakily dangerous with his little weapons that he shows us. Like so you want to brace yourself before my other coach Dave Roach shows you something because you're gonna feel a bit of pain somewhere. So it's a great mix. Like I'm very fortunate and very grateful to have them two men motivating me and being mentors in my life. So
Hopefully, with those kind words, they let the age comment slip.
I'm getting on in my years as well now. So
um, Talking about Irish MMA, I don't know a lot, but from what PT Carroll says on his podcast, I can kind of like grab bits and pieces. When he talks about Irish MMA, and especially when big events are held there, for SBG, it's a night to show off. I would liken it to what city kickboxing is for my region, for
yeah,
Australia. What if that's my guess of it, as someone who lives it, who someone's there, what is SBG like for Ireland? Because from my perspective, it's like a staple.
it would be. Yeah, like we have the most famous fighter coming from it, so that kind of helps. But there is other great gyms on the island. Like there's Team Rhino, which has great fighters. There's a gym called Team KF, which has great fighters. Like they're not as well known internationally, but they're definitely well known in the Europe scene. Like Ireland's just booming now at this stage with gyms and athletes. Like it's incredible. Like Irish, it's such a small island to do so well with fighters. Like it's amazing. Like yeah, proud to be Irish. It's good to see what talent comes from the country. Like, but like SBG does, it's the forefront because of McGregor. But like when Bellator will come, there'll be a lot of fighters from SBG fighting in Bellator as well. So yeah, like SBG is the forefront, I feel, as well. It's the best gym to be in overall, but there is good competition.
For as I said, obviously from my perspective, I'm all the way on the other side of the planet, so I don't know all the details. But from what I've seen and heard through different fighters and journalists and such, uh, the Europe scene is booming. As you mentioned there, Bellator is a staple over there. They come over often. We'll talk about you fighting there as well. But Cage Warriors does very well for itself. There's examples of fighters being offered UFC contracts and then being like, does not pay me as well as Cage Warriors does.
Yeah.
As a man who is in this to provide for family, as a man who's in this to make the cash and dash, uh, if the UFC came knocking but the contract wasn't as good, would you pick the UFC or would you pick the more money?
Well, I don't want to say something here that could ruin something, but I'd have to talk to the people who look after me and tell me what would be the best option in the long run. And they know what I'm capable of doing and is it in my abilities. So like, I'd have to listen to people who support me.
Of course, of course. Anything you say in an interview isn't exactly gospel, but
Yeah.
it's the reason I ask because it's interesting because Australia is not like that. We don't have like we've got a good MMA scene, but it's not booming to the point where it's like I'm gonna stay in the local scene and not go to the UFC.
Yeah, I get you.
So it's just a very interesting thing. As I mentioned there, you made your pro debut at Bellator. What is that like? Because that's a world class promotion, and you're walking in there for the first time as a pro.
I made a few mistakes leading up to it. It was COVID days. Everything places were on lockdown. I was yeah, like I was moving house, which was the main thing, and I was double training, filling a van with gear, missing food, not resting, training again. I ran myself into the ground, and I went out. And the first round, I bashed a man, and the second round, I just had nothing in me. So like that was bad preparation, kind of bad timing. But like I have no regrets in the sport. I went out, like fought the demons in the head, saying like the fear, everything. I went out, showed a good first round, but then unfortunately the illness kind of caught up with me and I couldn't push through and I got caught in a heel hook. I knew if he had cranked it, I would have been out for a year. So I said, take it, whatever, move on to the next one.
To have that, not so much the literal fight, like not so much literally what happened, although obviously, as you mentioned, there's a lot of good takeaways from a fight like that. But to make your pro debut under the world class lights, most people making their pro debut, at least in Oz, they're in local bars, they're in much smaller venues. What does that do for you, and how does that kind of prep you going forward when the fights do get bigger and they build to titles?
Well, I just it's the belief that the people having me around me that they put me like they're not going to put me out there to be killed or fed to the lions. They believe that I could have won that in my hometown, but unfortunately, the illness, as I said, didn't allow that happen. I was advised by a doctor not to fight, and the pride kind of got in the way. Like, no, I'm not missing this opportunity. I'm going to take it. So, and then going through the whole process, I had to do a quarantine in the hotel the week before because of COVID. Like all that anxiety, like it's kind of like what I'm doing now. I'm away for a week before I fight, so like I'm well used to it. Seeing all the teammates that night as well was a big motivator as well. Just being around the buzz, like it's great. And then the fact that was my debut, everything else didn't feel as big. Then, so that was definitely a big motivator mentally. Am I up for this? And so, like, do you want to be a fighter? That was kind of a test. And I've pushed through the adversity, and here I am now in Perth fighting for a world title.
Talking about Perth, I don't know population breakdowns, but as a country, we've got all different types of people from all over the world. So while it may not be 100% against you, you are probably going to be you're the outsider.
Yeah.
Um, how are you finding that? Are you mentally prepared to maybe get some booze?
Yeah, you can do all you want. At the end of the day, they're not in the cage with me. It's just me and Aldin. Me and him are fighting. Me and him are showcasing what we can do. The booze is just noise. It's like the music. It's like the klaxon. It's just a bit of a noise. It's not going to put me off my game.
Looking into both of your pasts, I'm not sure if you saw this, if you went this far back in the tape. Uh, But Aldin Bates once fought Jack Della Maddalena, a man who is now in the UFC. The last time Aldin fought for this belt was against Jack Della Maddalena. Early in your career, in your amateur career, you fought Ian Gary. When you fight a guy and then he goes on to make it and make big waves, what does that do for you mentally? You know you can be in there with the guy, even if the fight doesn't go your way. You know you can be in there with him. You know at that time how you kind of stacked up. What does that do to a fighter?
Like I didn't take any damage in that fight. I think it was my second amateur fight, and it was his last amateur fight before he went pro. So I was like, well, if I went the distance with him, all I have to do is change a few things and get better skills, it's like better preparation. Like you can't buy experience. So like getting in the cage there with people is going to be the best thing for your future. Like like I can't pay somebody and say, let me know what that feels like. Like I have to go do it. Like so like that's what every fight is. It's experience in the bank. People probably think, oh, he's just saying, oh, he lost a fight. It's experience in the bank. But it really is like it's like you can't buy it. You can't replicate it in the gym either. It's a different level. It's a different energy, cutting weight and everything. It's a crazy process. And the more you do it, the better you get.
And then, of course, you gain experience, everyone gains experience, and things improve. So it may not be a staple, especially in your amateurs. But as you said, that you don't take a lot of damage in that fight. To know, like, I could hang with that guy. It
Yeah.
wasn't. It wasn't a blowout. Kind of what we talked about before with training partners, where if you can hang with them, it builds your confidence. To look at that, what confidence does that give you?
Yeah, it gives me a lot. Like you said, like if he can do it, I can do it is the motto. Not taking damage is good. Hanging in there with him, like just tweak a few things, and then you can maybe beat him on a different day. Like, and it's good to see where Ian Gary's gone in his career. Like, it kind of motivates me. Like, if I just keep doing it as well, maybe I'll get that far. Like, that's what motivates me. The people around me, the people I fight. Like, it's everything is motivation. Like, you know what I mean? I just want to be good at what I do, and I feel I am very good at what I do now.
I agree. I think you are very good at what you do,
Thank
and
you.
talking about those skills. This game is crazy. As someone who's covered it for even not that long, I can recognize that. As someone who's lived in it, you know that better than anyone. But what do you see your path forward being? A victory here. What do you see the path being forward for yourself in your MMA career?
Like I said, it's like the fight. It's unknown. I can't like one day at a time, and whatever comes knocking, I can't really tell. Like, it's like I didn't think I was going to be sitting in Perth after I was in Tenerife in June, and then I was in Miami in December. Like, I never expected any of this. So where am I going to be now? Like, I could be back here in February actually. So maybe that could be one thing. So I could be back here in February if I get the belt here, and then after that, who knows? Like apparently, if you have a belt in Eternal, the UFC come knocking and they're really keen on you. So that's maybe that could be where I could be UFC.
Uh, Thank you so much for the time. I greatly appreciate it. It has been a long way for you to travel. Is it straight back home after the fight, or do you get to hang out?
I have one full day after, so whatever I'll have to cure whatever boo boos and bruises I get, but I'll be curing them in the pub somewhere. Hopefully with the belt wrapped around me.
You mentioned earlier about the belt is a motivator, and that's something that goes in your house. Is that where you keep it? Do you keep it in the house? Do you put it in the gym?
Yeah, the one I won in June, it's on the kitchen table. Look at it every day. I eat my eggs, and it's nice to walk out the house and just look at it and say, yeah, I'm a champ. So it's a nice feeling.
Is the kitchen table big enough for a second belt?
Done a bit of a job in the kitchen there recently, so yeah, there's a nice island in the middle, and it looks very well on it.
How many belts do you think could fit on it?
This one that I take, another one, and then it would look aesthetically well with three placed on it. Then I start having to put them on the walls if the fiance allows it.
How is it to is she with you?
No, she's back home.
How is it to be gone?
The video calls help a lot. If that wasn't around, yeah, I'd probably be crying into my blanket like, oh. But yeah, the video calls help a lot. The time difference is it's actually kind of nice. I come back from training after getting the steps in, and she's only awake, so I can tell her about my day. She can tell me about what's ahead. It's kind of nice, but I wouldn't want to do it for too long.
I talk to a lot of fighters. They talk about their family. Some people can't stand to watch it. Some people can watch it after the fight's done. How is she when you fight?
She's my hardest critic. She'd say you weren't mean enough. Why were you sitting down after the bell or something? Like she helps me. She encourages me to be better at what I do. So she's great to have. Like she could be like, "Oh, well done, babe, great job," and I'd be like, "Yeah, I'm the man." But she keeps me in check.
Just roasting you.
Yeah.
Bit sloppy with that sprawl, don't you think? I'd probably try to tighten that up.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks, babe.
I'll sprawl on you later, you know.
um, talk. Not to then maybe get you in further trouble. I don't know the situation, obviously. But you mentioned fiance. Is there a date for the wedding?
Only recently we kind of found a nice little venue back home, so we have a place now. I just need to start getting the funds in, and yeah, a bit of pressure. That's the biggest pressure.
Sorry.
There's more pressure from the fiance with the wedding than there is with me fighting. So.
Sorry to bring that pressure.
It's a
How?
motivator.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of motivators in your
Yeah.
life. That's what I'm learning. With that, like I've talked to some fighters who are engaged, and they talk about like, does life fit around the engagement, or fighting fit around the engagement, or does the engagement fit around fighting? Is that a conversation you've had to have?
Well, like we kind of have a date now. Like 2026 is we're going to aim for. Like we like I can't plan a holiday with the family because of the fight, and like I have to kind of guess when something's coming in. We look at it like we'll take a little gamble and book something, and hopefully nothing clashes, which has kind of paid off, thankfully. But it's tricky. It can get messy as well. But she's so supportive, and she understands that the fighting is currently comes first at the moment. Like it's a short window in our lives, and I'll pay her back as much as I can later on in life.
Of course, 2026 is forever away. In the fight game, it's forever away. But who
Yeah,
knows? Maybe you'll get married with a belt.
yeah, please God, yeah, yeah.
all
uh, uh,
all all three.
yeah, or a UFC contract. Yeah,
Oh, hold that up.
yeah,
Yeah, look at everyone.
yeah. That'd be nice.
What does the rest of the day look like for yourself?
Um, 4:30. I'm gonna go to the roommate now into his own room. We Alan Philpott actually told me to head down to Scarborough Beach for the sunset, so I think I'm gonna head down there now.
Alan Philpott.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, friend of the show, Alan Philpott.
yeah. Alan's a legend. How I met Alan was back in Bahrain in 2019 in the IMAFs. One, there wasn't enough coaches there. There's so many fights happening, and I just seen Alan, I think, in the back room, and I said, he knew I had no coaching, so he came out and actually cornered me during one of my fights, and that's how I met Alan. He was there with Team Australia, but he came out to support me during a fight for Team Ireland. So
How is that?
how was that?
Like
That's cool.
a
That's cool.
a stranger is cornering you.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. I'm used to this thing. Like I could have your nanny in my corner on the weekend. I won't mind.
I'll call her. I'll call
Let's
her
do
right now. Let's get her in. Helen, get in.
it. Hold the ice, Helen.
Yeah, actually, hold the spit bucket.
But Alan Philpott. That's what I mean. Like MMA makes so many magical things happen, magical moments. I met Alan in a world tournament. Well, he's on the other team that I could have fought some of his people, and here he is texting me, telling me where to go in Perth for a sunset, a romantic evening with my roommate.
Who snores too much?
Yes, I might strangle him on the beach.
It'd be nice. It'll be a nice last thing for him to see.
Yeah, yeah,
This is terrible for my stereotypes, may I say? Because now, if I ever meet another Irish person, I'd be like, "Do you know Stephen?" It's
yeah.
like they all know each other. Everyone that I know knows each other. So
Yeah. Small world.
yeah, actually. Stephen, I thank you so much for the time. It is a pleasure to speak to you. Best of luck in the fight. Safe travels home. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you very much for having me, and nice to meet you.